Welcome back friends. In this video I want to talk about routes of exposure and transport of toxin through food chain. Toxic exposure. Toxic materials are substances that may cause harm to an individual if it enters the body. Toxicants may enter in the body in different ways. These ways are called toxic exposure. There are two major toxic exposure, acute and chronic. Acute exposure lasts 24 hours or less. A chronic exposure lasts more than 3 months. Toxic exposure means that a toxin touched or got into a person's body. That person has been exposed to the toxin. Routes of exposure. Toxic substances enter in the body in 4 routes. There are inhalations, absorption, ingestion and injection. First one, inhalation. The most common route of exposure is inhalation for most chemicals in the form of vapors, gases, mist or particulates. Inhalation is the major route of entry. Once inhaled, chemicals are either exhaled or deposited in the respiratory tract. When a toxin is inhaled, it may injure the airways and the lungs. Also, some toxin can go from the lungs into the bloodstream. The bloodstream then delivers the blood with the toxin into all the organs. The toxin can then damage those organs. Inhalation is one of the easiest and fastest way for toxin to get into the body. The lining of the respiratory tract absorbs toxins. An example of commonly inhaled toxin is cigarette smoke. Cigarette contains more than 100 chemicals including formaldehyde, arsenic and hydrogen cyanide. So, smoking is also an example of chronic toxic exposure. Absorption. If a toxin gets in a person's eyes or on their skin, it can get taken up into the bloodstream. This is called absorption. The skin is the most common route of absorption for toxic exposure. The eyes are particularly sensitive to chemicals. Even a short exposure can cause severe effects to the eyes, or the substances can be absorbed through the eyes and be transported to other parts of the body, causing harmful effects. For example, if a person who works at a gas station spills gasoline on himself, the body will quickly absorb the gasoline into the bloodstream. Then third one, ingestion. Ingestion means that a person swallowed the toxin. Some chemicals cannot get into the bloodstream from the gastrointestinal tract. However, others are absorbed through the lining of the intestinal tract into the bloodstream. Ingestion of toxin is very common in developing countries where many people do not have safe drinking water. There are many different toxins that can be carried in water, example lead, and also have biological toxins like the bacteria that cause cholera and the viruses that cause hepatitis A and polio. Then fourth one, injection. Substances may enter the body if the skin is penetrated or punctured by a contaminated objects. Effects can then occur as the substances is circulated in the blood and deposited in the target organs. Injection can go into a vein, a muscle or just under the skin. Toxins that are injected into a vein have the fastest effects because the toxin is being put right into the bloodstream. Some snakes, scorpion and spiders carry venom. If they bite or sting a person, they are injecting that toxin into the person's body. Another example of toxin which is often injected on purpose is botulinum. This is a very deadly toxin that causes botulism, but it is also sold under the name Botox. Many people choose to get botulinum toxin injected into their faces to get rid of wrinkles. This toxin paralyzes some of the muscles in the face, usually for 3 to 12 months, and makes the face look smoother. Next, toxic exposed person. Toxins sometimes affect different peoples in different ways. For example, inhaling toxin is especially dangerous for people who already have lung diseases like emphysema. If the lungs are already damaged, breathing in toxin is likely to cause even more damage and puts the person at risk for respiratory failure. Also, once the toxin gets into the bloodstream, the body immediately starts trying to get rid of it through excretion. The main organs involved with excretion are kidney, liver, lungs. If a person has damage to any these organs like kidney failure or cirrhosis of the liver, the chemical will stay in their body longer and have more toxic effects. Transport of toxicants. Chemicals are released into the environment, rarely remain in the form of release. For example, agricultural chemicals used as sprays may drift from the point of application as air contaminants or enter runoff water as water contaminants. Many of these chemicals are at risk to fungal or bacterial degradation and are rapidly detoxified, frequently being broken down to products that can enter the carbon, nitrogen and oxygen cycles. Other agricultural chemicals, particularly halogenated organic compounds, are intractable to a greater or lesser degree to metabolized by microorganisms and persist in soil and water as contaminants. They may enter biological food chains and move to higher trophic levels or persist in processed crops as food contaminants. First, food chain. What is food chain? The term food chain refers to the sequence of events in an ecosystem where one organism eats another and then is eaten by another organisms. It consists of a producer, consumer and decomposer. Some example for food chain: grass, grasshopper, frog, snake, eagle. And another example: phytoplankton, zooplankton, fish, seal, great white shark. These are the example for food chain. Carrot, carrot eaten by rabbit, rabbit eaten by fox, fox eaten by lion. It's a producer, it's a primary consumer, secondary consumer, it's a tertiary consumer. This is ecological pyramids. Actually, the chemical substance transfer from one trophic level to another trophic level. Here, primary producer is the first trophic level. Then herbivores consumers are secondary trophic level. Then third, fourth, fifth, sixth. These are the trophic level. Here, chemical substance transfer from one trophic level to another trophic level. Transport of toxicant through food chain. Toxic materials are poisonous. Some quickly break down into harmless substances in the environment. Others are persist, that is, they stay in the environment and do not break down. These substances accumulate in the food chain and damage the organisms in it, particularly in the predators at the end of the chain. This is because accumulating compounds cannot be excreted. Example, in the sea, tiny animals and plants called plankton absorb the mercury compounds. When the plankton are eaten by small fish, the mercury they contain stays in the fish. As the fish need to eat a lot of plankton, the concentration of mercury in them become higher than its concentration in the plankton. Larger fish eat the small fish and larger ones still eat them. This creates a high concentration of mercury in the tuna. People eating contaminated tuna may get mercury poisoning. These are the example for mercury poisoning. Here the mercury released from industries or any other sources. It's taken up by plant plankton. Then it's a primary level, trophic level. Then it transferred to the secondary trophic level, that is animal plankton. Then small fish, larger fish. Finally it transferred to the tuna. So here high concentration of mercury is deposited. Then another example, DDT is an insecticide that can pass up the food chain from insects to small birds and then from the small birds to birds of prey like hawk. It can accumulate in the birds of prey, giving them a large amount of DDT. High concentration of DDT in birds cause weakness in the cells of their eggs, which leads to a reduction in their population. This is the DDT accumulation. Example for DDT accumulation. Next we can see bioaccumulation and biomagnification. What is bioaccumulation? Bioaccumulation is the process by which compounds accumulate or build up in an organism at a rate of faster than they can be broken down. Bioaccumulation is the gradual accumulation of substances such as pesticides or other chemicals in an organism. Bioaccumulation occurs when an organism absorbs these substances at a rate of faster than that at which the substance is lost by catabolism and excretion. Although the toxin produced by one plankton cell, it can accumulate quickly through the food web as each consumer takes in more and more of the toxin. This is called bioaccumulation. Organisms such as krill, mussels and fish have been found to retain toxin from phytoplankton in their bodies. These organisms are often not affected by the toxins but pass the toxins on further along the food web. Food web means interlocking of various food chain. The larger animals get the bigger doses of accumulated toxins. Some deaths of whales and sea lions have been attributed to this process. In many cases, toxins can be transported through the food web to humans, often through contaminated shellfish. Example, mercury, which form organic species such as methyl mercury, which is lipid soluble and tend to accumulate in the brain, resulting in mercury poisoning. Other lipid soluble poisons include tetramethylate compounds and DDT. These compounds are stored in body's fat, and when the fatty tissues are used for energy, the compounds are released and cause acute poisoning. This is also the mercury poisoning. Here the mercury released from their intestines, eaten by krill, then krill eaten by salmon, then salmon eaten by trout, tuna, then it eaten by shark. Here mercury level slowly increased from the low trophic, the first trophic level to higher trophic level. Next, biomagnification. Biomagnification, also known as bioamplification or biological magnification, is any concentration of a toxin such as pesticides in the tissues of tolerant organisms at successively higher levels in a food chain. Biological magnification often refers to the process whereby certain substances such as pesticides or heavy metals work their way into lake, rivers and the ocean, and then move up the food chain in progressively greater concentration as they are incorporated into the diet of aquatic organisms such as zooplankton, which in turn are eaten perhaps by fish, which then may be eaten by bigger fish, larger birds, animals or humans. These substances become increasingly concentrated in tissues or internal organ as they move up the chain. Bioaccumulants are substances that increase in concentration in living organism as they are taken in contaminated air, water or food because the substances are very slowly metabolized or excreted. The DDT concentration is in parts per million. As the trophic level increases in a food chain, the amount of toxic buildup increases. The amount of toxic buildup accumulating as the trophic level increases. These are the example for biomagnification with DDT. Here the concentration of DDT slowly increased and finally it get more concentration. This is also the biomagnification. BCBS, polychlorinated biphenyls, it's one of the insecticides. Then what are the difference between or relation between bioaccumulation and biomagnification? Here bioaccumulation occurs within a trophic level and is the increase in the concentration of a substance in certain tissues of organisms' bodies due to absorption from food and environment. Bioconcentration is defined as occurring when uptake from the water is greater than excretion. Thus, bioconcentration and bioaccumulation occur within an organism and biomagnification occurs across trophic level. When DDT enters aquatic bodies, it gets built up in the body of fishes and this is known as bioaccumulation. When fishes are eaten by animals of higher trophic levels, concentration of DDT is increased at each successive trophic level, and this is known as biomagnification. So finally, bioaccumulation is increase in concentration of a pollutant in an organisms, and biomagnification is increase in concentration of a pollutant in a food chain. Thank you.